Hello, welcome to the Ineffablelse. Welcome to a very Venusian time, a time to appreciate beauty, a time to see yourself in the world around you. Astrology is an amazing tool to liberate us from the labels which hold us back, as we little by little identify our sun, moon, ascendant, Mars, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. We find that all of these different archetypes are present within us. This is internal alchemy, and it is the most worthy mission of your life. The most beautiful thing is how individuated it is, and yet how much it brings us into closer harmony and unity with everything. Hope you enjoy these videos. Lots and lots of love. Good morning everyone, hello. Don't mind my wet hair. Today we've moved inside. Now there's nothing wrong with the weather, it's really nice outside here in Spain, but this is Scorpio season. This is a time to go in. This is internal focus. And oftentimes I will say with feminine signs, like this is feminine water in Scorpio, that this is a time that we take things in, that we can absorb a lot of information rather than being very productive. Well, this is a time to be productive inside. So really to minimize any addictive things, to minimize the amount of input that we have. Now I'll go into that in a bit. So first of all, I just would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also maybe consider joining Patreon, which I'm setting up, because this is 1 year since my very first video on this channel, my first astrological report. I wanted to celebrate by setting up a Patreon where I can go a lot deeper with this content, and it's been really wonderful to do this year-long process of observing the sun as it moves through what's been happening in the last year and all of the different lenses that we've been afforded by the different archetypes. Now in the Patreon I'm going to be starting the platform with additional content, which includes articles I'll be writing about specific people, especially celebrities. I really enjoy doing that and recognizing patterns in things. And also I will have set different tiers, and it will be where I will be starting the astrology school. And this is going to be wonderful, even if you have many years experience of knowing about astrology and you've read many things. This is going to be a new platform from this very scorpionic, Pluto in Scorpio generation. This very much about trauma healing and trauma integration in a very practical, useful and just accessible way. It will be a course that won't be formatted as you would expect. We won't be learning about the archetypes first. We'll be learning about a base from which to look at the archetypes, which is something I think is really missing from the world of astrology, especially in terms of how people are first introduced to astrology. So I think it's a really good idea to have a base, so you go in there without preconceived ideas and without expectations. And there's a really key thing for me here that I want to get across, which is the self-autonomy that comes with this. Many people can see astrology as limiting, like, oh, it's putting a label on me, this is annoying. No, this is about integrating the 360 degrees of the zodiac, all of the different archetypes and nuances that exist within that, evolving them. And as you evolve yourself, the whole collective can then evolve. And this is so much linked back to, I have a conjunction of Pluto and Mercury in Scorpio. So this is a very scorpionic perspective. And Scorpio is the most shamed of all the archetypes, and I think it's actually the key. It's the thing that we don't want to look at, but the moment that we can look at that, then we can do anything. So it's the lens that says everybody shits, everybody has sex and everybody dies. These are the three things that we are very uncomfortable talking about. And to be able to open these things and just to make a little wiggle room in your consciousness to release some of these prejudices and some of these collective ickiness that we feel around this, it can be so cleansing and so purifying to really start realizing that these are natural things, these are really wonderful things that are also very much coming from this sacral place and to do with creation and elimination of what really doesn't serve us, and the creation and continuation of things that we feel passionate about and that we want to bring into creation in this world. So back to Scorpio, and this is the sun in Scorpio, and this is when the veil gets thin. This is when we are confronted with death, and we're confronted with death in nature, leaves turning brown and temperatures dropping when people are dead. They're very, very cold. This is about sex and how do we generate our own heat from inside, and also how is our sexuality kind of linked with needing another person to be able to light that fire? How much can we light it in ourselves? And all of these kind of questions come to the surface this month. It's my favorite time. You know, it's Netflix binging yourself. It's going inside and seeing, whoa, how much deeper can I go? And I had a dream a few years ago, and when I was in the mountains of Catalonia, and I was having many dreams that were very, very profound. And one of these ones, I was swimming down and I got to what I thought was the bottom, and then there was a little pocket of air, and I came up for some air and I thought, oh, I can swim up now. And then I looked, oh no, there's another layer. So I'll swim down again, and there was another little pocket of air in this cave, and I could come up for some air, but then I had to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going down. This is it. This is Scorpio. This is how deep can you go. This is a vortex. This is a plug hole. This is a black hole. This is it's very impersonal, and that is another thing that we find very tricky. It's incredibly deep, but it's also doesn't have this polarity consciousness of right and wrong. It just is, and it just sits there like an elephant in the room, and it cannot be ignored. And we try as hard as we can to not look at these things, but they need to be smiled at and integrated and brought back into the party, because the fact that we've pushed them out is the reason why they've become distorted. So I'll go through some of the dates, because that's also a good thing when you're facing a month like this, is what can I do with this energy? Rather than, oh no, what is this energy going to do with me? Which is what typically happens, and you see it every month with when Mercury inevitably goes retrograde, because it's what it does, you know. And instead of it hitting us like a truck, we can really say, right, this is how I'm going to ride this wave, and this is what it means to look at the month ahead and see it before it's happening, and have a bit of okay. And it's not this planning everything to the minute detail and trying to control things, but it's just being slightly aware of what is happening. So the 23rd of October is when the sun enters Scorpio. On the 26th, we have Venus in Sagittarius in a square to Neptune in Pisces, and this is very interesting. The Pisces and the Sagittarius energy, the water and the fire, both mutable, both very empathic, both very much shifting and shaking. Sagittarius Venus, I'll be going into that in one of my other videos in the Venus series that I'm doing, but it is extremely fleety, flighty, floaty, kind of likes to try a bit of everything, and likes to be free, likes to be able to experiment. And then you have the Neptune dream world coming in there in a square, and the square is a kind of jarring energy in which you can't always believe what you dream. Like the dream I had about the Scorpio plug hole going down through the cavern, it's fairly obvious what that is. It's very, very visceral and I felt experience, whereas sometimes with this kind of Sagittarian energy, this is why in the course I want to go into detail about how we need to harness the scientific process before going down the Pisces intuition, because many people, they'll do something like have an amazing experience on psychedelics and then they feel they're enlightened, but then they've not had any kind of coherent dissection of this thing. You know, it just seems to be this overwhelming, beautiful experience of something else, something more, and then that's where all these concepts get created and religions get created and ideas about what happens when we die, when we don't know. You know, we really don't know. That is the great unknown. And instead, having a sort of structure, so we're not someone who's either very feminine or very masculine or very intellectual or very feeling, but someone who's able to embody both and harness both, and then you're really riding. And with the dream world, with Neptune still in Pisces, it's take everything with a big pinch of salt. You know, just feel it, observe it. Wow, that was cool. But it's not going to then become your rhetoric. It's not your narrative for the rest of the year, which is what Sagittarius likes to do. And then on the 30th, Mars goes into Scorpio. So this is your drive, your passions, your willpower. And this is it's the traditional home of Mars was in Scorpio. It was co-hosted by Aries and Scorpio, and now Scorpio is the home of Pluto. And this is one of those signs that the sign has been expanded. And this is an indication that Scorpio has evolved into something quite different, into something much, much richer and deeper. And just in the past, we just fucked. Like, we just did that. We didn't. And we killed and we murdered and we maimed, and it was very violent. So of course it's linked with this Aries impulsive, creative, initiating force. It's connected. It's one and the same almost. And now we can see Scorpio as something so much deeper and so much more rich and so much more sensitivity. And now you have Mars going into Scorpio. It's a time to readdress and look at that archetype, those two things together. How do they work? You know, there is a jarring feeling between the Aries and the Scorpio archetypes. They're not particularly well connected. So how can we use our passions and not shame them? And this is what it's asking you with this Mars entering into Scorpio. And on the same day, the Sun is square to Saturn in Aquarius. So this is, Aquarius, very mental, very forward thinking, I'm past all of this, I'm done with all of this. And this is Saturn, it's the planet of control. This is wanting to control everything that's happening. And Scorpio is like, there's no I even, it's uncontrollable. It's waves and it's water and it's gushing and it just comes forth. It's exploding teenage skin, and it's something that's just absolutely unable to be contained and controlled. And yes, we want the Aquarian dream, we want the future thing, but it can only happen when we've really integrated our Scorpio and accepted it and brought it in and hugged it and held it. And then of course the 31st is Halloween. This is the veil at its thinnest, the Day of the Dead. This is just questioning yourself. How do I feel about death? How do I feel about my ancestors? Was there anyone who died? Like in all of the TV series we see, people are always very happy when they kill off someone. But what if that's not the end? Like, what if there's another series after Harry Potter where we have to watch Voldemort go through his internal processes and deal with the fact that he doesn't understand what love is, and he has to then find himself and be redeemed and has to go through all the yuckiness? You know, like there's this full stop finality in every film you see, that it's just not true. You know, there is always more, and there's always deeper and deeper layers to peel back and to go. And that's what I love now about television, is that many more perspectives are being taken into account, and you get to see the flawed side of the hero and the beautiful side of the villain. So how is your relationship with ghosts? How is your relationship with demons and with entities? And even if you don't believe in that, but with energy, with like smacking your toe and hurting yourself, and instead of being graceful and smooth, this is then integrating the Venus. You know, in what way are these things not working together, and how much can you bring them into some kind of harmony. And it's all through acceptance. Then we have a nice air trine between Jupiter, also in Aquarius, and then Mercury, so the mind and expansion. And it's now in November, and how November the 1st, how are we going to do our winter? How are we going to, this is the mind can then come. I mean, I feel this because the Mercury I have is conjunct with Pluto, but it's like, how can I use this intellectual thing up here to access this stuff down here that's yicky, you know? And it does take a bit of a step back to be able to see these things without being swallowed and gobbled up by them. And of course Jupiter is so affluent and so fortunate that it's not scared. That's the brilliant thing about Jupiter and the Sagittarius concept. And then we have the big one, which is on the 4th. The Sun in Scorpio is in opposition to Uranus in Taurus, which I talk about a lot, which is all about our values, and Uranus, ruled by Aquarius, all about transformation, all about revolution. So how are our values now being seen through the lens of Scorpio? And what do we value, and what are we not placing enough value on? And in what ways do we undervalue Scorpio? I'm rooting for Scorpio as an archetype. It's so shamed and so hidden and so distorted that it's something that really needs to be embraced and brought with us into the future in its most amazing form, because there's so much to this archetype that is just left hidden. If you think about sacred sexuality, if you think about humanure, so that's when you make manure from human poo. I've seen it work. It's absolutely great. And also, you know, a great way to, this is dead matter. This is, how do we recycle? How do we create less waste? How do we use the waste in intelligent ways? And how will we honor our dead? And we honor the dead by taking the things that they learned and taking them on board and learning from their mistakes and learning from the things that they work so hard for, and also by being able to see the negative things that we carry from them and then healing those. That's how we honor our dead, really. And then you got the new moon as well in Scorpio. So this is the most inner, I mean, it's, for me, I live in Spain, so I don't get to celebrate this anymore, but this is of course the Guy Fawkes night, and this is fireworks. And for me, it's a really strong memory of going to firework displays on the 5th of November and it being pitch black apart from this fire, and being in a crowd of people but just with myself. And I have very vivid memories of that feeling of just, wow, and I could be lost at any moment. Even if my parents are standing next to me, I can't see anything, and you're just there with the fire. It's a powerful metaphor. And the new moon is that. The new moon is intensely deep and intensely within, especially when it's in Scorpio. And on the 5th, we have Venus entering Capricorn and Mercury entering Scorpio. So I'll tell you a little bit about Mercury in Scorpio. Is like, it wants to penetrate. It wants to go in. Now, even though this is a feminine sign, this is the kind of thing it's feminine, but it's a vacuum. It's like that really scary, there's a film with a vagina with teeth, and it's like that. It's penetrating by suction. It's a vacuum cleaner. And with a mind like that, it's great because you can just get all the information that you need and just take it in. But in that way, you're penetrating into something. You're seeing the deeper layers. You're not just looking at the top crust of things. You're very willing to go to dig and to see what else is needed to be able to get to the truth, to get to its essence. And you're not scared of things, because this is not a scaredy cat sign, Scorpio. This is very emotionally intelligent. And then with Venus in Capricorn, I can also tell you a thing or two about that. And I've also had Pluto sitting on this placement for the last 2 years. And it is a very tricky place to show affection and show love, and it's not the best moment to be very romantic, and in that way it's a way to really, it's the moment to really feel what you feel about the other person. It's less showy. It's a very feminine inward focus with all this Scorpio energy, and then that Capricorn, it's like it's like having this overarching umbrella theme about where we're going. This is the plan, right? And it's kind of allowing the Scorpio thing to happen, and then you have your dream life, you know, whether that's alone or with your dog or with a partner or with a big family or in a big community or in a tropical paradise or in the mountains. You know, it's Venus in Capricorn is planning for the future. It's about time. It's about planning what makes you feel beautiful, what makes you happy, and the trick with this placement is to actually say, oh, if I need to know what makes me happy, I need to start feeling happy. Oh yeah, I can't just conceptualize this. I need to start living. And Scorpio will teach you how to feel. And then on the 10th, we have that Mars being conjuncted by the Mercury, so both in Scorpio. So this is the extra emphasis on drive and motivation and what do you want to do with this month. And it's so internal and so much to do with moving blocks around inside where it's so subtle and it won't even look like anything, but it's shifting, shaking, moving things. It's an active principle, but yet it's inside. It's actively inner. That's like this month. Be actively inwards. And this is then helped by the lovely Neptune in Pisces, because this is then in a trine with the Scorpio Sun. So this is like rooting for the water signs. You know, I said this a couple of months ago when there was a lot of air and earth and it was kind of really nice and sweet energy. And now it's like, cool, we're ready to dive. Like, we're ready to go and feel everything that we need to feel. But, you know, this is why there's no archetype taken in and of itself. Everything is related. And it's funny, now I feel oversaturated with Instagram and these sorts of things. It doesn't do anything for me. And this is after spending a good month without Instagram and doing my Virgo well and having uploaded everything in advance in all social media so I didn't have to touch it. And then coming back, and then it's an oversaturation again, and it's this dance back and forth between consumption and production. And at the same moment, that conjunction between Mars and Mercury is going to be in a square with the Aquarius Saturn. Again, the Saturn in Aquarius is really like ready to move on. And it's kind of got this inherent respect for Mars. So when Mars is then there in Scorpio, and so is, I mean, these are all fixed energies. So this is a sort of battle of the wills. But it's this acknowledging that we're going to take this Scorpio energy forward, this beautiful penetrating mind that is useful. It's not useful to just say everything is perfect and the serial killers don't exist. It's like, these things happen, these things are true. And the only way we can evolve through them is through comprehension, which Aquarius and Saturn are all for. And then on the 19th, we have the full moon in Taurus. So this is really nice. This is like how we round off the whole experience, because it's happening on the 19th. It's very close to moving into Sagittarius, and then we can start partying and enjoying ourselves. And it's all kind of, I don't know why I want to say gone with the wind, but it's like that never happened. And that's how it should feel with Scorpio. It's like, that was intense, but it's purged. And it's gone, and that's vomiting and pooing and cleaning and clearing, and then it's like, that was never there, huh? And that's how it should feel when we've actually integrated and actually overcome something. It's not something like, oh, I was so busy processing and then I had more processing to do and I need to process some more. And so, well, then you're not processing, you're just sitting in it and wriggling around like, oh, this is uncomfortable, this is horrible, instead of feeling like, whoa, and this is a lot of Scorpio. So if you want to be productive this month, it's make a lot of this sound. Oh god, oh my god, you know, it all comes out, but it comes out. It doesn't sit there like, oh, like constipation, which is processing in a lot of realms these days. It's like there's a in the past there was no willingness to feel anything or to use that kind of terminology or to go into anything. It's like, that didn't happen, just to pretend that's not happening. But we're still doing that, but now we're calling it processing when we go back and we we lie there and we say, oh, I can't go out because I don't want to see that person, so I'm just going to sit here and process. It's like, no, your processing is going out and facing that thing that you fear. That's processing. And then, whoa, coming back at the end of the day, and I feel, 10 kilograms lighter because I've just done that thing that I thought I could never do. So it's dynamic this time. Don't think that just because it's Scorpio and it's dark and colder that it means, oh, lie in bed and just sit there and grumble. It's like, it's actively do the things that make you feel uncomfortable. It's not actually about comfort seeking. This is the flip side of everything that we kind of perceive about what it is to be emotionally mature and emotionally developed. It's not about I'm in touch with my emotions and therefore I sit in them and they take over my life forever. It's like I sit with them and help them to leave by allowing them to leave. It's like blocking something like this, like please don't come near me, and it's like, yeah, but if can I just let me, can I get out please? And we're holding it there in the body like no, and you just need to let it blow up in your face, and then it goes, and then you feel much better. There's a jarring and a jumping and there's always a jarring with Scorpio because, as I say, it's not particularly accepted, so it has to be. And it's about being brave with this archetype and feeling how it is in your day-to-day, and make sure it's about you. Make sure we've moved through this Libra time and there's that very big focus on the other and focus on relationships, and now we're like, oh crap, I found the person of my dreams and I've got a lot that I need to deal with before I'm able to actually love them. And that's what this period is about. And it's quiet, but you can still write and get it out in these ways and still make noise and still make music and still playful. Like there's nothing hard and heavy in that sense about Scorpio. It's only hard and heavy if we let it sit there and solidify and become very dense enemas. I'll leave you with that. It's a good one to end on. So yeah, please subscribe, please comment below, please like it, share it. I have so many demands of you, poor viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, consider joining Patreon and tune in for the rest of the Venus series. It's been a pleasure. Take care.